Hey guys, so we're starting our last unit for this school year, and we're not going to test over it, but we are going to spend these next 2 weeks on it. So we're going to talk about ratios. So what is a ratio? A ratio is when you compare two different things. You can write ratios in 3 different ways. All right. So you can use the word 2. So if we have 8 roses out of 24 flowers, we could write that ratio 3 different ways. We could say the ratio of roses to total flowers is 8 to 24 using the word 2. We could use a colon, and if it's a ratio, we also say 8 to 24, and we can make it look like a fraction, 8 to 24. So we're comparing roses specifically out of a full group of flowers, total flowers. So if I said there's 12 animals, and of those 12 animals, 3 are dogs, the ratio of the ratio of dogs to total animals is 3 to 12. Once again, I could write that 3 different ways with the word 2, with a colon, and I could make it look like a fraction. Ratios can be simplified by dividing both numbers by a common factor, just like any regular fraction. So 8 to 24, 8 is a common factor of both 8 and 24. So we could divide both of those digits by 8, and we could simplify that ratio to 1 to 3. And 4 to 12 would also simplify to 1 to 3 if we divide by the greatest common factor of 4. So once a ratio has been simplified, we would call these ratios equivalent. 8 to 24 is equivalent to 3 to 12, and that's also equivalent to 1 to 3. Those are equivalent ratios. So which of these ratios are equivalent? So pause the video and see which one you think which of these two are equivalent to each other. All right, so what'd you guys come up with? So hopefully you realize you could divide 9 and 45 by 9, and you would get 1 to 5. You can divide 2 and 8 both by 2, so you'd get 1 to 4. And you can divide 4 and 20 both by 4, and you would get 1 to 5. So the two equivalent ratios are the first one and the last one. Which of these ratios are equivalent to each other? All right, hopefully you tried it on your own. So the first one's simplified because 5 and 2 doesn't have a common factor. I could divide 10 and 25 both by 5, and I would get 10 divided by 5 is 2. 25 divided by 5 is 5. So these two are not equivalent. The numbers are not in the same order. And on the last one, I can divide both of these by 7. If I divide them both by 7, I get 5 to 2. Well, these are equivalent. The top one and the bottom one are equivalent ratios. The middle one is not. All right, so notes on proportions. Proportions, basically what a proportion is an equation that says two ratios are equal. So these two ratios have an equal sign between them, which means these form a proportion, or we could say these are proportional. One way to tell if two ratios are proportional is you can cross multiply. 3 times 4 is 12. 2 times 6 is 12. If you get the same cross products, that means you have a proportion. These two ratios are equivalent. The other way is if you could simplify both ratios. The first one's already simplified. The second one, I could divide these both by 2, and I would get 2 over 3. So either by simplifying, or probably the fastest way is by finding the cross products. All right, that's what I said, find the cross products. Do I have a proportion? Yes, I do, because the cross products are the same. All right, what about 6 to 8 and 4 to 3? If I cross multiply, 6 times 3 is 18. 4 times 8 is 32. These are not proportional. The second one, if I cross multiply the cross products, 45 times 8 is 360. 18 times 20 is 360. So yes, this is proportional. These two ratios form a proportion. And then what if I'm missing a number? Well, I can use the cross products to determine a missing number if I already know they're proportional. And usually when I'm given an equal sign, that means they are equal to each other. So one way I'm going to do it is by finding the cross product. So 4 times n is 4n. 20 times 100 is 2,000. And then to solve for n, I'm going to divide both sides by 4. And I would find out that n is 25. Okay. All right, so I want you guys to pause the video and tell me if these ratios are in fact proportional. All right, what'd you guys get? I got a yes for the first one because 6 times 30 is 180 and 10 times 18 is 180. The second one, let's see, what is 12 times 4? Is that 60? No, it's not. It's 48. So these, number 2 is not proportional. What about the third one? 4 times 3 is 12. 2 times 12 is 24. These are not proportional. The next one, I don't know, 108 times 5 is 540. And 90 times 6 is 540. So yes, this is proportional. The next one, I know this is 375 times 4 is 300. So yes, we have a proportion. And the last one, we have 35 times 5 is 175. And I know that 30 times 7 is 210. So nope, these are not proportional. So did you get them right? I hope you did. All right, solve each proportion. So what we're going to do is we're going to cross multiply and then divide. So 6 times x is 6x. 10 times 36 is 360. To solve for x, we're going to divide both sides by 6. So x is equal to, what would that be? 60. All right, now if it's easy, let's keep it easy. So what can we do to 6 to get 36? We can multiply by 6, right? Well, to get from 10 to x, we would have to do the same thing. We'd multiply by 6, so 10 times 6 is 60. Now this one's not that easy because we can't multiply 4 by a whole number to get 5, right? So we are going to use our cross product. So 4 times p is 4p. 7 times 5 is 35, and then we're going to divide both sides by 4. So 35 divided by 4 is 8.75. So our missing variable, our missing value is 8.75. All right, what about this one? Let's cross multiply. 4 times 180 is 720. 36 times x is 36x. To solve for x, I'm going to do the opposite of multiplying by 36, which is dividing by 36. So 720 divided by 36 is 20. All right, what about this one? Can we get from 15 to 45 pretty easy? Yep. Can we divide that by 3, right? So what's 3 times 3? That would be 9. If we did our cross products, we get 45 times 3 is 135, 15x. And then if we divided 135 by 15, we would also get 9. So either way, we get the value of 9. The missing value is 9. We can't multiply 5 by a whole number to get 12. So let's do our cross products. So 2 times 12 is 24. 5 times s is 5s. Whoops, I almost wrote x. X would be better because my 5 and my s look almost exactly alike. All right, so let's divide both sides by 5. So s is equal to 24 divided by 5 is 4.8. And then our last one is 7h equals 84 times 12, 1008. And then I'm going to divide both sides by 7. So 1008 divided by 7 is 144. I hope you guys got those right. All right, word problems. You must set up the same ratio of quantities. What does that mean? All right, so let's look at this. I paid $5 for every 10 sets of gloves. How much would 15 sets of gloves cost? All right, so since we have two things, we have dollars and we have gloves. So you're going to make sure if you put dollars on the top over gloves, you need to do that for both proportions. Okay, so $5 to 10 sets of gloves. This one, I would put 15 sets of gloves on the bottom because gloves is on the bottom and my variable would be on the top with my dollars. How much would that cost? Well, I don't know. So my dollar amount is my variable. All right, so dollars over sets of gloves. Make sure you set up those proportions correctly. You keep like things together on the top and like things together on the bottom. Or you could flip it. You could do sets of gloves over dollars. That's totally fine as long as you do it on both ratios. 10 sets over $5, you'd have to put 15 sets over an unknown number of dollars. We don't know yet. So how would we solve this? We're going to cross multiply. So 10 times x is 10x. 15 times 5 is 75. And then when I divide both sides by 10, I find out that the price, which is what I'm missing, is $7.50. Okay. All right, so what about this one? You can find your distance from a thunderstorm by counting the number of seconds between a lightning flash and the thunder. For example, if the time difference is 15 seconds, then the store is 7 kilometers away. About how far away is the storm if the time difference is 9 seconds? All right, we can do seconds over kilometers, or we could do kilometers over seconds. It doesn't matter, but you got to be consistent. So we got 21 seconds over 7 kilometers. So where does my 9 go? 9 what? 9 seconds. How far away is the storm? I do not know. So that's our unknown value. So to solve for x, I'm going to multiply 7 times 9. I get 63 equals 21 times x is 21x. So I'm going to divide both sides by 21 to solve for x. And x is equal to 3 kilometers. 3 kilometers, because that's what I'm missing, kilometers. A certain shade of paint is made by mixing 5 parts blue paint to 2 parts white paint. To get the correct shade, how many quarts of white paint should be mixed to get 8.5 quarts of blue? So let's do blue over white. Blue over white. So 5 parts blue over 2 parts white. So where does my 8.5 go? Well, it's blue, correct? So 8.5 blue over an unknown amount of white. So I'm going to cross multiply. And I get what's 8.5 times 2, 17. And when I divide both sides by 5, I get 3.4 quarts of white paint. 3.4. All right, so those were all ratios. Now we're going to talk about unit rate. Unit rate is how much for one. Okay, unit means one. So if I go 395 miles in 5 hours, if I want to know the unit rate, my question is how many miles do I go per hour? Per means one. So I need the denominator to be 1. Okay, so 395 miles by hours. If I divide the numerator by the denominator, 395 divided by 5, I find out my unit rate is 79 miles per hour. That slash mark means per, okay? If I go 395 miles in 5 hours, I can go, my unit rate is 79 miles per hour. All right, what if there were 5 inches of rain in 30 days? How much rain per day? If I want inches per day, that means I have to divide 5 by 30. I want inches per day. So I'm going to divide 5 by 30. It's not 6, you guys. The denominator, excuse me, the numerator's got to be divided by the denominator. 5 divided by 30 is about 0.17 inches per day. 0.17 inches per day. Or 1/6. 1/6 is equal to 0.17. All right, if I could type 200 words in 3 minutes, how many words per minute? So I want to divide words by minutes. 120 divided by 3, that means I could divide, and I find out that I can type 40 words per minute. Divide the numerator by the denominator. All right, if I can travel 300 miles in 6 hours, how many miles per hour? I'm dividing miles by hour. Okay, so 300 divided by 6, that's 50 miles per hour, or I can write it like this. All right, you guys pause the video and do these. What about 80 pages in 2 hours? How many pages per hour? That would be 40 pages per hour. What about 54 points in 3 games? 54 points per game would be 54 divided by 3. That's 18 points per game. And then the last one, words per minute, 1,000 words in 25 minutes. 1,000 divided by 25 is 40 words per minute. All right, you guys try those. Let me know if you have any questions on those. All right, so you're not always going to have a whole number, you guys, just like the first one. If you run 6 laps in 9 minutes, how many laps per minute? Well, that's going to be less than 1, right? 6 divided by 9, if I divide them both by 3, I get 2/3 of a lap per minute. And if you divide that out, it would be 0.6666667 laps per minute. Okay, so a decimal or a fraction would be appropriate there. Now this would be a whole number. 500 divided by 25 is a whole number. Shirts per box, which makes sense. You can't have part of a shirt in a box. And if I drew 4 pictures in 7 hours, I'm going to draw less than 1 picture per hour. I would have 4/7 of a picture per hour. Or if I divide that out, I would draw about 0.57 part of a picture per hour. Okay. And the last one, of course, is 2.6 hot dogs per minute. 2.6. All right, so now when we're talking about unit price, on the other ones, we always divided that first number by the second number. However, when we're talking about unit price, you always divide the money by the quantity, even if it's not written first, and a lot of times it won't be written first in the problem. For example, if I can buy 6 books for $30, how much money, how many dollars per book? You always divide the money by the quantity. So 30 divided by 6, I'm going to pay $5 per book. If I bought 10 pencils for $4.50, how much per pencil? I'm going to divide 4.5 by 10, and I know that I pay 45 cents per pencil. 3 apples for $1.20. How much is 1 apple? I divide the price by the quantity, and I'm going to pay 40 cents per apple. And then if I bought 4 baseballs for $16, that means I'm going to pay $4 per baseball. All right, so you guys try these. Pause the video. You guys tell me what you paid per binder. So we got $3 per binder. binder. The second one, we have $3.25 per burger. The next one, $4 divided by 12. And it's money, right? So let's write it like money, 33 cents per soda. And then 100 divided by 8, that would be $12.50 per shirt. All right, sometimes you will have fractions, which is not a problem. We're not scared of fractions. If a novelist can write 2 1/4 pages in 3/4 of an hour, how many pages per hour? So we're going to write our pages 2 1/4. We're going to divide it by 3/4. So 2 1/4 divided by 3/4. We're going to change this into an improper fraction. So 4 times 2 plus 1. So 9/4, 9/4 divided by 3/4. How do we divide fractions? We keep it, change it, flip it. And we have 9/4 times 4/3. Our 4s cancel. 3 and 9 are divided by 3. These all get 1s. And this gets a 3. So we're going to have 3 times 1, 3 pages per hour. 3 pages per hour. All right, you guys try these last 3 on the slide. Aaron can run 2 kilometers in 14 1/2 minutes. Find his rate of speed in kilometers per minute. So we're going to do 2 kilometers divided by, so I would multiply 14 times 2 plus 1. So 28, 29 halves. So I'm going to keep it, change it, flip it. So I got 2 times 2 is 4, 29 times 1 is 29. I could say I have 4/29 of a kilometer per minute, or I could divide 4 by 29, and I could say about 0.14 kilometers per minute. 0.14. For every 1/6 of a mile that a ship travels north, it travels 3/5 of a mile west. How many miles does the ship travel north for every mile it travels west? So north per west. 1/6 divided by 3/5. So I'm going to keep it, change it, flip it, multiply straight across, and I get 5/18 of a mile north per mile west. That's hard to write, but anyway, that's what it is. So if I divide 5/18, I get about 0.28 miles north per mile west. All right, the last one. Lauren bikes 1 1/3 miles in 1/10 of an hour. What is her speed in miles per hour? So I'm going to go around the world. I'm going to multiply, then add 3 times 1 is 3 plus 1 is 4/3 divided by 1/10. So I'm going to keep it, change it, flip it, and I get 40/3, and 40/3 would go what? 13 times. Wow, I ran out of room. 13 1/3 mile per hour for the last one. 13 1/3 or 13.333. All right, guys, I hope that helped. There's one other video for this lesson, so you guys go on and move on to the next video, and I will check in with you guys later.